Hey guys, Adam the Paranormal Polynesian here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Last week we started half of the podcast that I was on recently with the Bipolar Teddybear podcast. Cecil Fletcher was interviewing me, so I'm going to play the second half of that interview for you to watch and enjoy. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications, and join me on my adventures. I love to travel to haunted places, go to cemeteries, ghost towns. If you're into that kind of thing, please, won't you join me? And the room on this trip was haunted. There was something wrong with the room. I don't know quite yet. I'll have to look at my footage from staying there. There were definitely weird things going on with the audio, and Cecil says there was EVPs he might have caught and also visual things. So look out for those and see if you can see them. But again, thank you so much to the Bipolar Teddybear podcast, and thank you to you for watching and being a subscriber, and I hope you enjoy.
Coming out of that black hole.
When it comes to like supernatural experiences and ghosts and everything like that, do you think that ghosts are intelligent entities, or do you think that they're just like imprints, basically, like energy imprints?
I think it's both. It just depends on the situation. Last night we were at that mansion that was haunted, and there was a room, and the owner told us her daughter would see two men sitting in the sitting area of the room, just looking at her at night. And I think that's just residual. Like, I think it plays like a loop. It just depends on the situation. A lot of places, especially out here in Utah, we have a lot of granite and a lot of stone, and a lot of people have kind of put that together as well, that if you're near a lot of geological sort of things, that kind of holds on to the energy like a record player and just replays it. That's why, like the Stanley, where Stephen King wrote The Shining, that hotel in Colorado is built right into the mountain. I've had some of my most paranormal experiences ever in this hotel.
Family hotel?
Yeah, that's where I had my honeymoon. I was
What?
my friend and I, I used to work with the Ghost Hunters, the TV show. This was how I got kind of started. This was years ago, back when they were really big. And we would go on a lot of retreats with them, and with there was it was called Darkness Radio. I don't know if they're still around, but it was like a convention, and they had them all over the country. And one year it was at the Stanley, and that's how I got introduced. Of course, my favorite horror movie of all time is The Shining, and my favorite book is The Shining. I love Stephen King. So we had a costume party. This was right around Halloween at this hotel. We had the whole hotel to ourselves. They had all the lights cut off, just pitch black for like 3 days. And I mean, crazy stuff happened every single night. And the funny thing is, my friend and I, we won. I say we won, but she mainly won the costume contest. She was dressed as Tippi Hedren from the Birds, with like all these fake birds all over her. And this was back in, I want to say, '09, when the hotel turned 100. So it was also like on a special anniversary. But we won the room that Stephen King wrote The Shining in, which is room 217. For those of you who read the books, and then those of you who love the movie know the room number is 237, because the moon landing was faked and all. Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. That's what
At
they
least the first one.
But yeah, that room was haunted. The room that Stephen King wrote that book in, I know that he wrote that book at the end of the hotel season. They closed the hotel just for him. and he was in a room where a maid had been blown up in the 1900s by, it's not funny, by like a she was blown up, and it's not a big deal.
It was a
She
terrifically
lived,
horrible death.
she lived. She lost some, parts, but she lived. But so there was this big explosion on that wing of the building. It blew up, and all this drama in this room. So he's like, I want that room, and he wrote the story. There's the clawfoot tub in the bathroom. I mean, it's creepy. I know that we spent the night, and we did catch the bathroom door opening and closing on the camera at night. And this is an old hotel. You have to really pull those doors to close them. I mean, we've had like pennies fall from the sky and hit us in there. Um, a lot of children running up and down the halls and laughing at 3 in the morning, which is not possible because there were no kids at this particular night. Um, that's one of my favorite spots ever, and I love that I went there for my honeymoon because, like, yeah, I love
that
creepy stuff.
that's that's amazing. Like that that's on that's on my bucket list eventually.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Estes Park is a gorgeous town. People are so nice there. I'm going there next month, so I'll be
Wow,
revisiting that hopefully.
that'd be awesome. You said that you brought up the scars the injury you got or the marking from Skinwalker. So
Oh, that's
you
where we were. Yeah.
so you legit think, do you think that you brought something home with you for like legitimately from there, or is your house just haunted?
Well, like with me, and I think a lot of it is caused by me unintentionally, and I think a lot of people cause their own hauntings. I think a lot of poltergeist activity is actually people in distress, that are going through a time, and they're putting that out into the world. Me, I've moved so much in my life being an entertainer and stuff. Like I've moved probably 12 times in the past 10 years, and if I'm not comfortable with the place, I notice the activity just starts ramping up when we first move somewhere new. So we just built this new house, my husband and I, and we've just been having stuff since we moved in. And a lot of that is, I think it's coming just from me because until I'm comfortable with the place, there's always paranormal activity everywhere we've ever moved. Um, but when we went to Skinwalker Ranch, I mean, we started getting knocking on the windows and the doors, and it'll happen simultaneously. Like there's multiple people around my house knocking on the windows, um, and just more shadow figures and a lot of stuff with electronics, with the Alexa and the Google, uh, just like laughing and talking for no reason. It's just, um, but that's all kind of, like I'm used to that after all these years. My
Yeah.
husband was not a believer in this stuff, but we've been together for 11 years, and he just doesn't question it anymore. He just knows like it's just a part of being, with me. It just happens wherever I go. But definitely things have, ramped up a little since we went to the ranch.
I'm,
Yeah.
that's
Almost like
wild.
it recognized me and it was like, hey, how are you? I'm gonna come back, follow you home.
Well, the reason I asked that mainly, that's something I like to ask everybody that's involved in paranormal, is because totally he lives about 20 minutes from Bobby Mackey's.
Oh yeah,
So
or
we,
hell, right?
yeah, so we have gotten drunk there quite a bit.
Sounds great.
But my wife bought memorabilia. I'm the one that can't pronounce anything.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, you're doing better than me, so
so she bought this poker chip and brought it home. And since she did that, like just strange things happen. And I'm not a big firm believer in like my house is haunted. Like I don't think that at all. But like our dogs, when we're working throughout the day, we have to put them in their cages so they don't bark and stuff. And one day we went in there and our little dog was in the big dog's cage with the big dog. So it had to open its own cage, then open his cage and get in his cage and close it back.
I heard dogs don't have opposable thumbs,
That's
so
what I
I don't
heard too.
know how that works.
I don't either.
That's crazy.
So it looks like a lot of your videos cover a number of different topics outside of the paranormal, which I have seen that. And one that caught my friend Tully's eye was the fact that we all like to drink, and he's wanting to know what the best possible cocktail recipe is.
Man, the best cocktail. See, I'm one of those, as my amazing friend is making me another martini right now. I love a martini. Oh, sorry, it's not martini. It's water. So dang TikTok and their rules. I don't know. So, gosh, I love simple, like, vodka and orange juice. A Cape Cod. My go-to is gosh, vodka. Anything vodka. I mean, really. I'm not really like fancy with drinks. I did a video where I made like dumpster fires and weird drinks for 2020, like just that were supposed to all light on fire. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw that, but none of them actually worked because 2020, like nothing worked. So they were supposed to light on fire and at least make the night fun, but that never happened. But no, if I had to call it at the end of the day, I just love a martini. That's just
Yeah.
I'm like Sean Connery that way, I guess.
I really love pina coladas, but I don't know how to make them properly.
If I'm on a
Um,
cruise, I'll have a pina colada, at least 4 of those a day. And they have this one. If you ever go on a Carnival cruise, it's called a dirty banana. It's amazing.
banana.
It's amazing. It's my favorite drink of all time. But I'm only able to find it on a Carnival cruise. No one else knows how to make it.
I
But
have
it just tastes like one of those chocolate dip bananas that are
Mm,
amazing.
that would be awesome.
Okay.
um, we usually ask our guests this question because this has been kind of a running gimmick on here because I firmly believe this and my friends think I'm insane. Um, do you believe that birds are real?
Say what now?
Yeah,
Like the birds in the sky?
like do you think that they're actually animals that kind of evolved with us or were placed here by God, or do you think they're like a construct that was put here for nefarious reasons?
What? I've heard that one. That's crazy. I've never heard anyone ask me that. Congratulations. You've asked me my first question I've never heard in my life. Like, I have no idea. I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, I'm at the flamingo right now because I love flamingos so much and they're birds. And if I was to ever find out they were like reptilian creatures, I'd be so pissed. Like, look behind me in my hotel room. Flamingos. That's my favorite. Like my favorite animal on earth. So I love birds. There's an aviary right out here below my window. So no, they're not constructs of the mind.
All
They're,
right.
they're friends to all. I don't know.
That's fair enough.
See, I grew up. My mom grew up. My mom raised us, and she raised cockatiels. So we always grew up with birds. Another thing that no one probably knows, but I've always been raised with birds in the house. So they better not be evil creatures. That would suck. That would
I
explain
think
a lot.
I think that they're more along the lines of sit here to monitor the matrix and make sure that nothing glitches, and when it does, they have to report back to the server.
You know what? After I have another one of these waters that I'm drinking, I'll let you know when I go down to talk to the flamingos here in a minute if anything happens. Yeah. So I've never heard that one. Man, I gotta research that.
So, it looks like you have a lot of things going on, and everything like that. And you're of course out in Vegas now, getting ready to do shows out there and everything. What kind of future plans do you have for your content?
Well, I hope to just keep growing this channel. Um, I've Before I did this, I actually used to design headstones for a living. So I worked in the funeral business, and I always felt like I should be doing something more or different. And I've always been an entertainer and a singer, and I love being in front of people, and I love talking to new people. Um, and I don't know if you could tell, but I love chatting, and I always said I wanted to do a YouTube channel about going around the country looking. I'm all about going on vacation, not spending a ton of money, going to see some really random, crazy sites, and having a good time. And you can do that on any budget. And I just love finding these weird little things. Like tomorrow, we're going to the Bonnie and Clyde death car in
Oh
another.
wow.
There's a casino about 40 miles towards California, and they have the actual car where they were killed and their clothes that they were wearing. And so I'm doing an episode on that. I love going to weird things like that. That's my thing. And so I hope with the channel we'll do a lot more of that. And then also being an interior designer, I do a lot of decorating. So it's like a home and travel channel. So there'll be a lot of both. So I hope eventually I'll get enough subscribers that I can actually do this full time. That would be amazing. That would be
That
awesome.
would be awesome. And it's good stuff. I like it a lot. So before we wrap everything up, have you ever seen a full apparition like a full fledged? I can see that ghost right there, like
Yes.
as an adult.
Hmm.
What's the scariest encounter like that, or just the most prolific one?
I mean, I'll never forget the Queen Mary in the third class ballroom. I went in there. It's so weird because the group of us that went in, we all have different accounts of what happened that night, but it all's very similar. Um, what I had seen was we got in a room. We were there doing a ghost conference thing with Ghost Hunters TV show, and four of us went in the room, and I didn't know anything about the Queen Mary at the time, but I walked straight into this room and I said, "We need to go in here. There's something going on in here." And the door was locked, and I was like, "Well, shit, we can't get in." I'm like, "But I need to get in this room." And then as I'm saying that, the door pops open and
Mm.
unlocks itself and opens up, and we go in, and we don't know what it is at the time, but it was a third class ballroom. And as we're all just huddled in a circle, there's portholes, because we're at the front of the ship. And I can see shadows of people walking around, but the shadows are inside of the room with us. They're not outside of the portholes, and they're coming closer. And when that's happening over in the far corner, I see a pair of legs, like an old black and white photo, like an old black and white video, a pair of legs just walking in place, wearing nurse's shoes. So it was a woman, and you could kind of see the knees in her dress, and that's it, nothing else. And then right over to her to the side, the only thing I can compare this to is that Twilight Zone Tower of Terror ride at
Oh
Disney.
yeah.
It was a static form of a figure, and the head started to form, then the shoulders, and it started to shape into a body. And as I'm sitting there looking at this, I'm like, am I ready? Like, I knew that I wanted to be a ghost hunter, and I, like, all these things are going through my mind. I'm like, am I ready to see this shit right now? Because I have a meltdown. Like, I'm going to die because I'm so terrified. And I look over at one of my fellow investigators. She's sobbing and crying, and then I started crying. And that's another thing. Like when there's ghostly activity or ghosts in my area, I start crying for like no reason. And I don't cry for anything. Like I'm dead inside. You can ask anyone here. Like I just don't cry. But something in that room just made us all start bawling for no reason. Anyways, long story short, we thought we were in that room. Things were moving around us in a circle. We finally all got up and just walked out of the room. This all happened in what we thought was a span of 5 minutes. Um, but we were there for an hour in that room. So like it's like we lost time, and it was just a whole event. And what happened was when I went home from that ship, I ended up having to have my house blessed because at night I would wake up with almost sleep paralysis, and I would be back in that room again seeing those portholes. And I remember a voice came up to my bed, and it's like, God is not here right now, like you said that exactly. And as that happened and I woke up screaming out of the bed, and like the walls are melting and the windows are disappearing like a horror film, I get an email notification on my laptop. My friend Jim, who was in the room when this incident happened, he caught an EVP. And the EVP, I clicked on it right as this all's going on in my house. And the EVP is the same voice that woke me up in my bedroom. And it says, God is lost. That's the three
Wow.
words that it said. And so that will always stick with me as like one of the craziest instances. Another one is at a nightclub in Salt Lake. I was investigating a haunted bathroom, which is kind of funny because the bathroom's haunted at this nightclub. But I straight up saw a man walk. I'm standing in a hall, looking down a hall. I watched a man walk through the wall in front of me, solid as you are, walk straight through the wall into the women's restroom. And that's when I screamed, like, full on did my, like, girl scream and, like, fell to the floor. Like, I dropped to the floor. I was like, this is not right. Someone just came through a wall and just walked into a wall. Like, I'm good. We can go to KFC and go home now. Like, I'm done. So I've seen stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. And it startles you, but once you realize what happened, it's fine. But yeah, that one at the Queen Mary sticks with me. That ship is nuts. Um, I think it's like a portal, you know, to something. But I heard
You've
they
men-
closed it, so I hope
yeah,
they reopen.
I heard that. You've mentioned portals a lot. Do you believe in like portals to adult dimension?
I
Like
do.
I do too.
Yeah, I do, and I've seen what I've felt like I've seen many here, many in Utah where I live, in different areas. I just think, just like back on the islands where my family's from, it's the same way. There's portals there. Like the world just seems a little thinner in those parts. Like there's places on this earth where things come and go. And I totally believe in other dimensions. I mean, haven't they proven that with science?
Yeah.
Um, like I think as I'm sitting here in this hotel, you know, there could be a whole other party of people having a good time right now, not even knowing that we're here. So I, I don't know the science behind that, but I believe it because I've seen it.
Yeah.
There's so much more out there than people know.
I agree with
That's what makes this so cool, you know?
that.
I love it so much. I love the unknown. That one thing nobody can ever answer for sure, you know, until it's time. So,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That is really cool. The portal thing. Have you? I'll be. I don't know why I always like to ask this, even if you're not into it. But do you think Bigfoot is interdimensional?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's possible. We have a lot of reports of Bigfoot in the canyon above my house, in Provo Canyon.
Yeah.
I think that's why not, you know? After the stuff I've seen over at Skinwalker Ranch, like you could tell me Dracula's gonna bring me pizza here in a second at my door. I mean, I'd believe you. Like I've like nothing surprises me, honestly. And
Yeah.
that's so interesting about this. There's a place called 9 Mile Canyon. If you ever want to look that up, that's crazy. There's petroglyphs of straight up UFOs that are, you know, 5,000 years old with little men walking downstairs out of a spaceship. Like, how do you explain? And I know that some experts say, well, it means this or this, but really, does it? Because, like, you can see a plane flying and someone scratched that on a wall like 5,000, 10,000 years ago. Um, Stuff's going on in that area of Utah.
Well, they always try to sum up like petroglyphs, like oh they were just creative, but back then they put down what they saw. Like
Yeah,
there'd be a cow here, horse here, then a fucking UFO here.
I mean, go Google that shit. Like, if you have a second. Yeah, 9 Mile Canyon. I'm sorry, but there's too many petroglyphs where like you see like a cow and a horse and a person, and then you see a man with like antennas coming down a spaceship with a ladder. Like, what is that? Like, you can't tell me that's like, you know, a stable with horses in it. I mean, there's stuff on those. If you look at the photos, I mean, you can see straight up airplanes. And these date back, I want to say, at least 5,000, 3 to 5,000 years ago. Some of them were. all over Utah, there's petroglyphs like that where it just shows these spacecraft. Pretty much. I mean, that's all I can explain it as. I mean, I've even talked to people who are experts, and even they say like, well, yeah, there's really no way to know for sure what the hell that is. I'm like, you think so? There's like little creature goblins coming out of this canyon attacking people, and but it's a horse on that wall, so just know that it's a horse, and that's it, nothing else.
So I really appreciate you coming on the episode and everything and speaking with us. I wish everybody else would have got to join. Things happen.
Maybe next time. Who knows? No, it's been great chatting with you. So thanks for having me.
So let everybody know where they can find your stuff at.
Sure, it's all under the same thing. So the Paranormal Polynesian, because I'm Polynesian and it's a paranormal time we're having. So YouTube, Paranormal Polynesian, Facebook, the Paranormal Polynesian. I'm on Twitter, other things, TikTok. I don't know. I'm looking over here. What else am I on?
Everywhere.
But yeah, like the main things, the YouTube channel and then Facebook. Those are the Instagram. So all under the Paranormal Polynesian. So if you look that up, you should be able to find me. And we do, like I said, a lot of home decor, DIY stuff, cooking. I do a segment called the Ghostly Gourmet where I talk about whatever ghostly stories I have for the day while I cook something. And then we do the travel where we go around mostly the western U.S. because it's easy right now with the pandemic, just taking people to ghost towns and cemeteries, stuff that people probably haven't seen. Because the West is crazy. You got to come out.
For sure,
People
if I ever
are
get the
crazy out
chance.
there.
That'd be fun. And you can find us on Twitter at bipolar_TB. You can find us on YouTube at Bipolar Teddybear Network. And if you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to us either through the Twitter or at the email bipolar_teddybear@outlook.com. And thank you so much for watching us because we're watching you.